So welcome to week 2. So things that you should remember from week 1 is, what are we doing in this class? We're doing managerial accounting, which means that we are not necessarily always following GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles, which governs generally accepted accounting principles, which governs financial accounting. We are working internally, which means we have some flexibility with our reporting and the different components we talked about in Chapter 1, ethics, reporting, and so forth. So again, just remember what we're doing, managerial accounting, why we're doing it. We're doing it for management. We are management in a lot of cases when we're talking about this. And then we also began in week 1 talking about cost. And that's really a big focus of what we do in managerial accounting. What is the cost of what we do? And you'll hear me say repeatedly, fixed cost, variable cost, mixed cost, direct cost, indirect cost. And then we'll get into the 3 costs in every product, direct materials, direct labor, and we will introduce you to manufacturing overhead. Heard a little bit about that, but a lot more of that in Chapter 4 while we're in week 2. So it's an exciting week. I love Chapter 3, cost, volume, profit analysis, and it's exactly what it says it is. Cost, what does something cost? Volume, how many are we going to make? And profit, how much profit do we have after our revenue is charged or billed and our cost is assessed. And so it's CVP, cost, volume, profit analysis. I did a case study, wrote a case study with some of my colleagues last semester on a cost, volume, profit analysis of a bakery. And it was very interesting and very practical. In fact, it might even be one of the case studies you get assigned this semester. So pay attention to the cost, volume, profit. And then the manufacturing overhead application. So quick, you'll hear this again, but manufacturing overhead, if it's a product cost and it's not direct, then it's indirect. And so manufacturing overhead is our indirect materials. I can't type and talk. It's our indirect labor, and then other costs associated with that. And so remember it this way, and I should have said this up here as well. There's product cost and there's period cost. You've got to understand the difference between those. You'll hear about it. You'll do it in your homework. But these are product costs that are not direct. And so what we do is we apply these costs to our products or services based on a driver. And one story I always tell, and it may be in my video, it won't hurt you to hear it again, but you go out to eat and you're with 6 people and someone in the group orders an appetizer and an entree and a dessert and a drink. And you're on a budget, so you order an entree and water. And they bring the bill out and they divide by 6. Well, you are going to get charged more than what you ate. And so you would prefer they do direct billing, where each one of you gets your own bill for your meal. And so kind of think about that with applying manufacturing overhead. We're allocating. So it can be like allocating the cost of a meal to 6 people. It can be allocating the rent on the building to the products that you make. For example, cupcakes. So when you make a cupcake and you look at the cost of that cupcake, it's not just the flour and the sugar and the butter and the time of the person working on the cupcake. You also have to cover or absorb the cost of the building in which you're working and the electricity and the manager's salary. And so all of that, and in managerial accounting, what you'll learn about this class is we just continue to build. And so what you learned in week 1, we will use in week 2. What you learned in week 2, we will use in week 3. And so make sure as we go along you understand. If you don't, if you're having a hard time grasping something, please email your coach. If your coach can't help you, they will forward that email on to me and I'll be happy to work with you. So good luck this week. Great job getting through week 1.